What do you mean, your name?
Say my name.
Say my name, say my name.
When no one is around.
Into
Hey,
the
baby,
mic.
I love you if you ain't running game.
Say my name, say my name.
My name there, do I read all that?
Yes.
Well, you didn't tell me I was in the notes and I had things to read. You just told me to sit back.
She likes to just add things and
Yeah.
assume you're going to read her mind.
Exactly.
I asked you if I had to do anything. You're like, no, just sit down, just kind of go along with us and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
I have things for you.
Good Lord. Is that what you told me earlier?
We are recording.
What?
Welcome
Oh my God. Well,
to
hi,
the
everyone.
world of Clarissa. You've watched enough to know that she loves tricking people.
It's my favorite thing in
Oh
the
my
world.
God. You weren't recording when I was doing that thing to the mic, were you?
No.
And she just
And I
started.
just said it. Oh my God.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome back, episode 26.
We're covering Louis IV of France, and today we have a special guest.
Who remembers Clarissa's retro neon
Shout out.
slide? Shout out.
Yes, this is said shout out. The cousin, the
This is
intern,
the guy. Oh,
The
this is
research
the guy.
assistant.
the man,
Nope.
the
Diagonal. Yes.
the legend, Justin. What?
Welcome to the show, Justin.
Oh, thank you for having me, ladies.
We're very excited to have you.
I'm very excited to be here.
Do you want to
I've
introduce him?
Been embarrassed enough as it is because of you.
Mhm.
Oh,
Tell
by
him
the way,
about
I'm
your stuff.
recording.
What?
So by the
You
way, I'm
haven't told them who
recording.
he is.
I know. I said tell them about your stuff.
You.
Streaming, Bahama man.
I don't
This
know
is
who she's
Clarissa's
talking to, so I
cousin.
thought she was talking to you.
She was yelling at me.
her.
Oh, so you want me to talk about myself now? Can
Yes.
I? Am I allowed to talk
You
now?
don't want to tell them who he is?
I just said his handle on.
This is Clarissa's cousin.
Okay. Anyway,
I said that already.
Anyway, my handle on Twitch is twitch.tv/Bahama06. I stream on there.
So Twitch means you stream gaming?
Yes, I stream gaming along with.
Sorry, I don't know those things.
Yeah, no.
I watched a Mario one that you did. It made my heart happy. A long time ago, though.
That was when I was on Mixer.
Oh.
On Mixer. I think you sent me the clip.
Yes. I was on Mixer, folks, before Twitch, and then Mixer went. So now I'm on Twitch.
So now he's on Twitch. So find him there
I'm a
at.
small streamer who still has a lot to go. So just bear with me until I can get all my
So
equipment.
it just means people watch you play video games?
Well, it's not just that. They do video games. They also do live streaming, like just themselves in everyday life, or just it's a variety of things. Some are
Okay.
talk shows. Some play games.
Interesting.
But
Very
I
cool.
You do
do
games.
I do games.
Okay. What is the draw in watching someone else play video games?
Surprisingly enough, when I first started watching Twitch or streamers, I thought the same thing. Like, what's the point? But it's
Yeah.
actually pretty entertaining.
Just to watch people.
Just to see how people do different things and the way everyone has a different game style or
Like-
game and
Okay.
way of doing things.
You
Yeah.
learn new tricks.
Yeah. Plus, you got the community. There's a community there of people in the chat. And whatnot. Then you got other social media platforms like Discord, which is made for gamers, like a gaming social media, and then you have like a Discord page, and you go on there. You can chat with other people that you've met and whatnot.
Okay.
And there's a lot to it.
I mean, I could see someone really being entertained by Clarissa and Ryan and I playing Uncooked.
Yes, but they would have to hear us
Yeah,
screaming.
see, she introduced me to. She told me about it, but I never got to play it because Ryan was crabbing about it.
Yeah,
I
he gets
know.
really grumpy about it. And we've gotten stuck on 2 levels that we can't get past.
Maybe we'll play tonight.
Maybe you should have me at the gamer. Maybe I can help you out.
See, but you witnessed a smidge last night. We all went out for drinks last night,
Yes.
and you witnessed a little bit of what happens when Ryan and I disagree.
And they disagree a lot
It
in
was very
Undercooked.
entertaining.
Overcooked.
That's for sure.
And Overcooked?
Yeah, it's overcooked, and I said undercooked.
I think I
Which-
said uncooked.
Over.
You did say under. You did say what you said.
Uncooked. Yeah.
Uncooked.
I don't know.
It's nice to have that mediator to say, no, this is what happened live instead of going back and watching and yelling at yourself.
So
just
my
arguing.
purpose of being here is to
Mediator.
mediate these two
mhm.
from her, Caitlin killing Clarissa, and I just smacked my mic.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a lot.
My bad.
I mean, they know.
Yep.
Yeah, you all seen. Try being me on the opposite end, watching you two. Like, oh my god, come on, you two.
Get
We
it
are
together.
like this in everyday life.
Get it together.
Yes.
This is not an act.
On this
people.
week's episode of Royal Malarkey, who's going to win the fight, Clarissa or Caitlin?
Caitlin.
No.
Always.
Caitlin the
No.
famous.
Mm-mm.
Because I'm famous.
You are famous.
That's unfair. I need someone to
So
be.
we got Clarissa and then
Up.
Caitlin the famous.
I'm up,
Or up,
for
yeah,
you.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way. Clarissa's over there. Caitlin's up there.
Okay, so just to remind everybody, last week we talked about Rudolph of France. He too was elected king, and he is the one that struggled with the barbarians and the Vikings attacking from both sides.
And that pesky red nose.
Mm-hmm. It's really a struggle when you're in the middle of a battle and everyone can identify you by your red nose.
The shining red nose.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I kind of figured that's where it came from.
Oh. Thank you for
Because you're talking
explaining
about
that.
Rudolph, and I'm in here in my head like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, that's what that look was.
So y'all watch this, see me look off into space. I was singing it in my head.
You were singing it. Got it. Okay, so before we actually get into the episode, we're going to talk about eyebrows real quick. And by we, I mean he, Justin.
The researcher.
If you recall, what episode was it?
God, I don't know.
Facial hair seemed to come up a lot.
It was 2 episodes
did.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Justin sent us lots of information, which Clarissa barely scratched the surface of.
Yep.
So since we have him here, we're going to let him tell you a little bit more.
Tell you another one. So last time it was Egypt.
Yes.
Ancient Egypt. So we went back all the way to ancient Egypt.
It was the eyebrows, right?
And yeah, because it was superstitious powers they gave them for having their eyebrows shaped.
Yes.
Getting those powers from the gods. So now we are going to move to 800 BC to 146 BC. And that would be the pure ancient Greek brows. Now, with ancient Greeks, put an emphasis on the purity. They put the emphasis on the purity, and it was reflected in women's beauty rituals. Oftentimes, married women would sport a natural look, while those who were unwed could touch up their eyebrows with a black... I cannot read today.
Incense?
Incense, that's what I thought.
Oh.
Or...
They'd make it darker.
Yeah.
Kind of how I fill them in.
Make it
Charcoal.
more pronounced, or not pronounced, but I guess pronounced.
Yeah.
Yeah, pronounced. Let's go with that. Or a unibrow was recognized as a beauty trait. So that's gross.
Yeah.
So apparently Greeks were like,
Just going to fill this in.
look at that unibrow. Come here, baby.
Nice.
So yeah, there's a fun little tidbit on eyebrows now. We're into Greeks.
I imagine that if you can do the wave with your eyebrows and you have the unibrow, it makes more sense.
But that was only for those who were unwed. They did the unibrows. Otherwise, they kept them up when they were married.
It was just too attractive. All of the men were on them.
Not nowadays.
That
You typically run the other direction if you see that.
times have changed.
That is
Although we are
true.
filling them in slowly, who knows when the unibrow might make a comeback.
I don't know. It
Very
seems like
true.
every decade in the past is coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
60, you got 80s, 70s coming back. You never know. Unibrow.
Mm-hmm.
Unibrow could make it. All right, moving into the episode, Louis IV of France.
Yes, today we're talking about Louis IV, who was born in September of 921 or 920. One of them.
One of them.
He is the only son of King Charles the Simple, who we talked about in episode
23.
23.
Mhm.
And his second wife,
Edifu.
Eadgifu.
Edifu.
Of Wessex in England.
Mhm.
And she was the daughter of Edward the Elder of Wessex. So, alternate names for our buddy Louis the Fourth is, they're not really alternate names, though. They're like nicknames.
Things he was known as.
Yes.
I think his dad was Charles the Simple or Charles the Straightforward. So one makes you think kind of dumb. And the other one thinks, oh, he's a straight shooter. He knows how to like make his point.
So Louis IV was called either d'Outremer or, I'm going to go with Latin on this one. Anybody? Transmarinus.
Ooh.
Both of which mean from overseas, which we will explain in more detail later.
Yes, we will.
But he did reign. He reigned.
He did.
He reigned as king of West Francia from 936 to 954. So he was born in what was known as the heartlands of Western Francia. He is a Carolingian.
Yes.
I feel like we keep saying we're done with the Carolingians, and the next thing we know,
It happens.
here's another one.
But the Robertian dynasty is out and the Carolingian is back in fashion.
Although
Hmm.
they're out, but they're not really out.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So he was born on Carolingian lands between Léon and Riem, as I said, around 920, 921, from Charles the Simple's first marriage with Frederuna. Do we remember Frederuna? I don't know.
Mm-mm.
No.
It doesn't sound familiar.
I don't remember
And I've
Frederuna,
listened
but
to all the
Frederuna
episodes, so
was the first wife, and they had all daughters, remember?
Yes.
And
then
she died. No, so he was born from the second wife.
Yes. Edifu.
Edgifu.
Edgifu.
Sorry, I made that very confusing. I didn't mean to.
But remember, that's why Charles was dethroned, because he showed too much favoritism. You haven't seen the episode yet.
You're not allowed to speak. That's what that meant. He just cut you off. Dirty style.
I was just going back. So
He had something to say.
Frederuna. You said that's who he was born from, right?
That is his
father's first marriage.
Yeah.
Man, I made that very confusing.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
No, that's why I want to make sure, because I'm on my stuff over here. I'm like, wait, but that says here is his first marriage, not second marriage.
I'm sorry.
No.
I made that very
his dad.
confusing.
Corrections mid-episode. do correction avenue. You're supposed to train me.
We need another
Ta-da.
sound for that. We need another whimsical sound for that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get whimsical for me.
But I like singing that one.
All right.
Stop taking all my singing away.
I'm so sorry. Sing your heart out, but don't act like I'm supposed to join in.
You are.
Anyway,
Continue.
he was Charles the Simple's only son and only heir to the throne.
Yep. You ready for me?
Yeah, whenever.
Okay, so as we said earlier, we told you all about his father, Charles the Simple, in episode 23. He's the one that was dethroned, but came back and fought with his buddy Rollo to try to get his kingship back, but was tricked into a fancy dinner and then imprisoned. Right after all that happened, Edgifu rushed her infant son Louis off to her father's kingdom in Wessex. This is where he would receive the nickname from overseas.
Because Wessex is in England.
Yeah.
Or Britannia at this time.
Mm-hmm. He would be raised in England until his teens, and after his grandfather died, his uncle Edmund the Martyr ruled Wessex.
Who's his grandfather? Anybody?
Oh, it's an E something. I didn't write
Who's
it down.
Charles the Simple's dad? Anyone remember? Didn't mean to throw a curveball. I have no idea.
Hang on. I gotta
Just
think
throwing
about it.
stuff out there.
I'm sorry.
Count
He has
her
things.
father, King Edward, and afterward Edward's death. His brother, King. It starts with the E, like you said. I just can't pronounce
Edmund. I don't know.
Dad? Wouldn't he
You
have been a
asked who
king?
his grandfather was. His name, right
Yes. Who's Charles the Simple's dad?
here. Why Charles the Simple?
Because Louis is the son of Charles the Simple.
You're going too far back. I have no
it.
idea.
Who's King?
I thought you were asking about Wessex. 'Cause that's what we were talking about.
He was raised in England until his teens after his grandfather died.
Yeah, on her side. In England. Not Charles.
I'm like, why is this confusing?
Because you are confused.
No, I just thought you meant grandfather on...
No, Wessex.
Wow.
We're in England.
Did you want to interrupt my sentence? Would that make you feel
interrupt
better?
or I'm the
No.
interrupter king?
No, that's what you did. It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to do.
Hmm.
How's everyone else's week been?
Okay, so fun fact, right?
So his grandfather in England died.
Yeah,
He was there until his grandfather in England died.
but his uncle took over.
his uncle took over, and
Yes.
then he came home to France.
That's what
Sort
I was
of,
trying to
yes.
say. Because from what I have here, it was his uncle took over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to say his name, but I'm not good with words.
Where?
His uncle's name is Edmund the Martyr.
Oh, hang on.
His grandfather's name is like
That was
Ed.
his from what I have, that was his legendary stories. Was he went by Edmund?
Yes,
But I have a totally different name.
It is a
King-
legend.
I want to see. What? I love pronouncing things.
No,
Okay.
she's gonna get up, and she's gone away from the mic. I'll carry the show and say things. I don't know.
Athelstan.
Oh, Ethelstan.
Yeah, see, I would never gotten that. I would have
It's
been
like from Vikings.
Yeah,
What his name was?
Ethelstan.
Yeah.
One of them. One of the characters, at least.
No, it was the monk guy
Yeah.
in the first episode. The
Yes.
monk they steal from England.
Yes.
His name.
Yeah, so that was King
Athelstan.
Edward's brother that took over.
Got it.
Yes. So, Uncle Edmund the Martyr. I have a fun little legend for you guys. A little bit of malarkey.
Love it.
Yeah. In 869, the great heathen army was moving in on East Anglia. We are in Wessex.
Who's the heathen army? The Vikings?
The Vikings.
Okay.
hmm Edmund, possibly the king then, which would be Edmund the Martyr. He's a bit of a legendary character, but he refused to renounce his Christianity and therefore was beaten, shot up with arrows, beheaded, all on the orders of Ivar the Boneless and Uba. The Vikings then threw his head into the forest, but the English were able to find it safely because an ethereal wolf was crying out in Latin, hic, 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 which also means here, here, here.
Why was the wolf crying?
He was telling them he found the head safely.
Ah. So the wolf was helping with the search.
Yes, an ethereal wolf,
Ethereal wolf.
which is the one that I wanted the question.
So the only time.
What does ethereal mean?
Extremely delicate and light in a way that seems too perfect for this world.
Like a unicorn.
It was just too perfect, but it went out and it found his head out in the forest. So, do those names sound familiar to you? Ivar the Boneless.
No.
Nope.
Well, I'm asking the audience now because I hope they recognize them. The History Channel's Vikings, they're Ragnar Lothbrok's sons.
Yeah, that's 5 times fast.
Ragnar Lothbrok's sons. Ragnar Lothbrok's sons. Ragnar Lothbrok's sons.
Exactly.
That was not even 3. Okay.
Anyway.
Do you want to explain the photo you have?
I'm about. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't about to. I missed
Okay,
it.
good.
So the photo, thank you, Caitlin, is Edmund the Martyr being shot up.
Are those arrows in his body?
Uh-huh.
His backside.
The
it looks like.
Viking, the great Viking horde is, hidden.
Are his hands tied behind the tree?
Yes.
So they're all arrows in the front side.
Uh-huh. Getting himself killed, and then his head's about
Those
to be chopped and
Vikings
thrown
look
away.
So ruthless.
They
Don't
look like
they?
they're leaving court or something.
Right. A little too fancy.
When I think Vikings, I'm thinking these big,
Bulky.
bulky, burly
With horns on
horns
their
and
helmets.
These guys look like
beards and-
teens. Like tweens, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So Ivar the Boneless was the youngest son of Ragnar, and he's the one that had the umbilical cord wrapped around his legs.
Oh, that's on
came
the
out.
show.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's with the half-god wife.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And at least that's how the show told us. It was that he was crippled, and that's why he had that name.
Boneless.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So his actual name is Ivar Benilaus.
Being lousy.
It translates to Ivar Legless, but Benelausi could also be boneless because bone and leg translate to the same word Ben in several different sagas known as the Tales of Ragnar's Sons. describe him as lacking legs or bones, but another passage describes him as referring to bonelessness as in male impotence.
Or maybe he's a kid.
No, he wasn't. He was an adult when he did all this writing. Yeah. You're thinking of the show when he was still little.
Yeah.
Then I have to watch the show now.
You should watch
You
the
haven't
show.
seen it?
I've never watched Viking. It's
yeah.
one of my things to watch. So
Absolutely.
We both say, even though we both didn't finish it, but
Yeah, I want to. It's on my list of to-dos, but we got really far into the series. It's really good. I always get distracted by, I don't know, another show.
you keep saying Ragnar's, and every time you say Ragnar's, I'm thinking Ragnarok.
it is Viking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's fun.
It is Viking.
If there's any ties in there.
Don't know.
Definitely, maybe he was named after Ragnarok.
I don't know.
Anyway,
So back to Louis, because that tale was
we've been on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
You want to route back to where you were with Louis?
So Louis was swept away as an infant to Wessex and then was raised there till about 15. So in Louis's eyes, he became king after his father died in captivity, but he didn't actually return to West Francia until 936 at the age of 15.
His father died in 923.
So in his mind, he was king in 923, even though nobody recognized his power.
Wait, in whose mind?
Louis IV's.
So in his own mind, he became king, even though he got swept
Right when
away.
his dad died. Dad's dead, I'm king.
Got it.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
I would too if I was him. I'd be like, Dad's dead.
Got it.
I'm the boss now.
I rule you, and also I don't. Anyway.
So then he's in England, and then
he gets,
grandfather dies.
Well, the grandfather is a moot point.
Or the king dies.
The
and
king
then
finally dies, but then
Aethelstan.
Rudolph, I'm back in Francia. We're done with the Wessex story.
Well, that's
think
where
I'm
Louis
confusing
is
you.
right now, which is why I'm talking about it.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm asking. So he gets swept off to England as soon as the dad dies.
Yes.
As soon as Charles the Simple dies.
Mhm.
Then he's there until grandfather dies?
No, he's still there until he's 15. His grandfather died, and then his uncle took over. And his uncle's Edmund the Martyr.
Aethelstan. Same guy.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Same guy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We established this a few minutes ago. Same
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
You were just calling him by his the legends names.
I go for the mythical.
Mythical, yes.
Yes.
Sounds a lot better and easier to say, though.
It is. I roll with the easier.
So, okay, what I have, Louis became the heir to the Western branch of the Carolingian Dynasty after the death of his captive father
yes.
in
That's in his mind.
923, not
He didn't-
926. Or 926, not 923. I said 923.
Right. But he didn't because Rudolph reigned. So, and he thinks that he's king,
Got it.
but nobody has acknowledged his
so
reign.
then Robert and Rudolph die, and then he becomes.
And then
okay.
he is finally moved over to West Francia at the behest of the nobles, specifically Hugh the Great, who is the son of Robert I from episode 24. Hugh wanted another Carolingian to be on the throne because after Rudolph died, a bunch of people were trying to vie for the throne, and he was like, there's too many split loyalties, things are getting too complicated. If you just keep electing different people, we're going to have too many different fractions. Like someone's going to back the wrong person and no one's ever going to like recognize one person's rule again if we don't put another monarch who is ordained by God to be on the throne. Like someone that everyone recognizes has rule. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when he did arrive in Francia, he was greeted by the nobles and Hugh and a chronicler.
Didn't Hugh call him back?
Yes, he's the one that had him come to West Francia.
Okay.
Yes. And the chronicler Recurrus wrote about the first encounter, and it went as follows, Caitlin.
The Duke hastily brought a horse decorated with the royal insignia. By the time he wanted to put the king in the saddle, the horse ran in all directions. Like in circles? But Louis, an agile young man, jumped suddenly without stirrups and tamed the animal. This pleased all those present and caused recognition from all.
Oh. Fancy. I mean, I'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I'd bow down to him.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
So I don't know how far in years we are, but around 939 he gets married.
He does. I'm getting right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can
Jump in when you're ready.
Okay.
I just was going to say, the first thing every king does is try to take Lothringia.
Yeah, it is
Isn't
it's
it?
a pattern.
And he tried. And one of his methods was marrying the Eastern Frankish king's sister without his consent. Gerberga
Gerberga,
of Saxony.
who had actually already been married.
Mm-hmm.
So she was married to Gilbert, who was the Duke of Lotharingia, who had rebelled against King Otto,
Mm-hmm.
who we did not talk about because we are not talking about East Francia yet.
That is her brother, and that is the king that I was just referring to.
Mm-hmm.
You're one and the same.
Got it. Okay. Well, he drowned in the Rhine River
Did he?
while escaping Otto. And so then she's suddenly available. And as Clarissa mentioned, as a tactic to take Lothringia, Louis IV married her. And she was only 26 at this time. So they got married in 939. They do go on to have 8 children.
Wow.
7 or 8.
It's a
I
lot.
read both things.
Either way, it's still a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Either number.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one being a son who does eventually become king, named Lothaire.
Mhm.
If you recognize the name.
So basically, because he did this, trying to take over Lotharingia, the East Frankish king, Otto I, along with a bunch of other nobles, including the nobles in West Francia, went and attacked Lotharingia and moved down into Rheims. And that's where Louis was, and that's where Louis's palace was. So Otto then, in revenge over from East Francia, attacks Lotharingia, takes it, and then is in Rheims and sets up a station right there and is just pissed. You can't go off marrying my sister without my consent, sir. And what makes you think you're entitled to Lotharingia? It's been Eastern Frankish.
I said good day.
I said good day. With the glove, slap.
I said good day, sir.
And basically, Louis ended up being held captive and or kidnapped or educated by Hugh the Great. You know, just kind of took him in under his wing, aka let me rule for you instead of you ruling.
It was definitely a
Terrible decision. Going after Lotharingia.
what's the word I'm looking for? A regency situation.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is it really upset the people who lived in West Francia, like the peasants and regular peoples, because this is like the 3rd or 4th time in their generation where the nobles swore loyalty to their king and then betrayed them over and over and over again. And they felt like all of the saints had left them, because even the one that they loved and supported, Hugh the Great, he even swore fealty to Louis IV. But then when Louis loses a couple lands, he ends up swearing fealty to Otto over in East Frankish area.
Francia.
Francia, thank you. And because Otto had moved into the palace at Rheims, which is where Louis IV was living, he tried to continue taking
Wait, Louis
more.
living there and he just is like, I'm moving in.
Well, Louis was in Lotharingia marrying the guy's sister. So
he wasn't home.
He plowed through half of Lotharingia straight to Rheims and was like, this is a great castle.
I think I'll take up residence.
I think I'm a big fan
He
of
became a
this.
squatter.
Yeah.
Pretty
Pretty much.
Nice castle. It's mine now.
I'll take it.
Yep. And he got a little greedy, tried to take more things, and lost. And so he reached out a friendly hand to make peace and reconcile, but he didn't reach it out to Louis IV. He reached out to Hugh.
The regent.
The regent.
Himself.
The one in power. Interesting, isn't it?
Quite.
So now I'm looking at 945. Have I missed anything for you, KK?
I have a 950.
Ooh.
Don't skip over me.
Got it. I won't.
Thank you.
During the summer of 945, Louis went to Normandy because a friend had called him over. He was
on the phone.
Yes.
No
Hey, bud.
way.
Bling.
Could you
Bling.
head on over?
Text him.
Yeah.
Need a guy's night if you could. I don't know, hit some games. You know, we'll go out riding.
I have to know if you typed these notes.
I did. Why?
Spelling.
Obviously, it's me.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Riddled with errors.
Yes.
Is what she's trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're noticing too.
I like to call them
There's blue and red everywhere.
spellings of
Grammar
endearment.
errors, spelling errors.
As long as you know what they mean.
I accept myself for who I am.
Anyway, tell us about this boys' night.
Boys' night. They went out for a ride in the summer, and the friend was murdered mid-ride.
Oh, no.
And Louis barely escaped with his life. And
they were hunting, weren't they?
You know, shit always happens when they're hunting, doesn't it?
Always in the French.
Mm-hmm.
And the hunting is very dangerous.
I don't know why they hunt anymore.
Do they? Surely.
But he did get captured by the Normans. So he escaped barely with his life from the whole murder scene. But then
Who are we calling Normans at this point?
Normandy, Northmen.
Norway.
Which is where on your map?
It would be above Paris. There's like a little
So he's still
arc
technically
point.
ruling these people.
Yes.
Okay.
He is technically their king. And they really just don't care, you know? So they're checking something
I've
out.
been there.
She was right. It's right above
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Right next to Rouen, where I have been.
Where she has been.
And where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake.
Yep.
Name drop much.
Mhm. So what did they want by taking their king captive? They demanded that his two sons...
It's risky, so it better be big.
It better be. They demanded that his two sons be sent to them in exchange for him, but his wife, Queen Gerberga,
Gerberga.
sent-
This episode brought to you by Gerber.
Gerber. We take all sponsors.
Yep. Anybody. We're not
Picky.
picky. Definitely not that.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up sending just the youngest son. And instead of releasing him, they sent him to Hugh the Great again. This is round 2, where he is under Hugh's control. And Hugh, instead of just taking him under his wing and continuing to educate him, sent him over to another count where he was held for several months. And it is very likely that Hugh orchestrated the entire thing in order to get him captured. So he evaded the murder scene and then just, blackmail.
So Hughes betrayed Louis.
Oh, hey!
Betrayed is a strong word. He manipulated.
I have this great job for you.
For a
Why
result.
don't you come overseas and, live here and be the king and all, but we'll put you in a cage.
Oh, a cage.
That got dark.
Seems
Like
legit.
a dungeon.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Got it.
But Hugh eventually caved under the pressure from the nobles because they were not big fans of their king being imprisoned.
Don't wonder why.
I know.
So,
And Louis was then forced to give up basically the rest of the lands that he had, and then actually had no power. So he is king in title alone at this point.
Louis is
Louis.
king in title only.
Yes. In 948/949, the Eastern Frankish king Otto, now his brother-in-law, held a meeting to determine Hugh's fate. And Louis was able to testify about all the things Hugh had done to him. And they decided that Hugh was to be excommunicated from Francia for undermining the royal power and treacherously revolting against King Louis IV. Instead of showing up to defend himself in court, he went on a rampage.
Nice.
Ransacked Reims, Soissons, and about a dozen other churches before finally being stopped.
Yikes. So he was pouting.
He was pretty upset.
Got it.
If you're going to pout, you might as well take over some cities.
Might as well destroy some churches.
I mean, make your point known, right? You can't kick me out.
Right.
I'll take all your shit.
Like they did.
Yeah.
So my 950 note, before we move on.
Do tell.
So apparently Queen Gerberga was a little paranoid. So she developed this increasing paranoid fear and started to a fear of the Antichrist.
Yes.
You have this?
Mm-hmm.
You might have better notes on it than me.
I might. Well, jump in and let me know if
No,
I
you
missed
go.
something.
Okay.
So somewhere in the 950s, she became very, very fearful
Of the Antichrist.
of the end of the world and the Antichrist. It's because she was so well educated, because back then being really well educated is like you're really well educated in like the Bible, and
Right.
like there's not a whole lot, especially for a woman then.
Being educated meant you were educated in the Bible. It's
Yeah.
one and the same back then.
At this point in
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So she consulted an abbot, right?
Yes,
Abbot.
named Odso of Montier-Ronder.
About her growing concerns. And he said that she had nothing to fear because the arrival of the Antichrist wouldn't happen until the kingdoms of East and West Francia were no more, and that Louis can reign peacefully without fear because he would still be going to heaven.
Oh, those are some bold promises.
Yep.
Like, I have the power.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
So these things are happening.
Yep. Did I miss anything?
I assume you're going to tell the wolf story.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that
Do
one.
continue.
Okay. So some positive things did happen in his reign, because I've told you a lot of negative stuff and how things were not going so well for the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did end up taking back all the lands that he had lost previously to the different nobles who kept like capturing him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Louis and his son Lothaire are the last kings for a very, very long time to go south of the Loire River, which, if you check out our map on YouTube, the Loire River is like
Is
half
this your
the
spelling
kingdom.
and we're talking about the Loire River from last time?
I don't know what a Loire River is.
Loire.
It's Loire.
Yeah, that's not what's in
Okay.
Loire River.
That one.
We talked about it on the last episode.
Yes, we did.
Okay, it's the same
did.
river, people.
It's the same one,
Okay.
guys. I used almost the same map. So this river, it's like more than half of it is below for a king to not visit for the next like several generations is shocking to me. Do you see it?
I do.
Anyone surprised?
It's almost like they
It's
don't go
more than half the
go
kingdom.
below to the second 2/3 of France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like, I want Lotharingia, which is up here to the north.
Why is
east.
Lotharingia so popular?
It's just between East and West
food.
Francia. Huh?
They have good food.
Good
Yeah.
food. It's always
That's where
food.
the croissants are.
Oh, I want a croissant. I'm so hungry.
So good. So yum.
In 951, he fell dangerously ill and associated his throne to his oldest son, Lothaire. I'm not sure what associated means, but I think it's
Feeling
like a hold.
it means like you're in charge until I get better.
Yeah.
But you're not really in charge unless I die.
But if I die, then there's definitely like a succession. You've already been ruling, but but if I recover.
Well, that happens anyway, right? But
co-pilot.
while I'm still technically alive, I'm going to let you do your thing. But if I recover, that is revoked immediately, kind of thing.
What'd you say?
Kind of like a co-pilot.
Oh,
If you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
The pilot passes out. It's all you, buddy. And there she goes. She's out.
Very hungry.
Same.
Anyway, he finally recovered at the hands of his wife.
Mm.
Aww. And side note, you might be wondering what happened to his mom when she came back to Francia.
Idgefu.
Yes.
It's been on my mind.
Hasn't it?
He's just been worrying
It's been
about it this
eating
whole
at me,
time.
eating at me.
Worried about her. Like nonstop. I don't blame you. It was very worrisome to me. Well, she came back and pretty much immediately went to the Abbey of Notre Dame and lived there. Like she became the abbess. Like she was running the whole place. And then she was abducted by another pesky noble.
Nobles, man. They're
Everywhere.
dangerous.
And pesky.
And
Your
pesky.
backs, watch your backs.
And then she had to marry him. She was kidnapped and then forced
Forced
into
to
marriage.
marry him.
And the best part is Louis was furious. So as punishment, he gave the abbey to his wife.
Of Notre Dame?
Yes. He was mad that
Is
his
this
mother was
This is the
kidnapped.
abbey. Remember the ruins of Notre Dame was built on the ruins of an abbey? Are we talking
Yeah.
about one and the same?
I don't remember enough to tell you, but yes, that is
Haven't
true.
you listened recently?
You listened to it recently.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, if I remember right, yeah. It was built on an abbey,
It's built on
Yeah.
the ruins of
Yeah.
an old abbey, right?
like a lot of places.
Anyway.
Especially back then.
But I think that's funny how he's like, oh, she got kidnapped, so hey, babe, here you go. You can have
Cheers
the abbey
now.
now.
Like it's an interesting punishment to me. He's angry that his mother was abducted and forced into marriage.
Like, yeah, like it's her fault that she got abducted. So he's like, you know what? You allowed yourself to get abducted. So
And then you
as
married him.
punishment for marrying him, I'm going to give the abbey to my wife. So
You don't deserve it.
you got yourself kidnapped.
Clearly, you
so-
cannot be trusted to be
Yeah.
in charge.
Clearly. So my next question is, are we ready to kill him off?
Well, you
No.
even talked about the wolf, which was before he died.
It's right next to death.
Okay. Then let's do it.
We're
Time
killing
for
him.
him to go.
He's going. Y'all ready for this?
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
You know that song?
Make noises.
Y'all ready for this?
Oh.
We're going to keep doing it until you join us.
I'm over it.
You put me on the spot. Now I can't do it. I can't do it.
But this is how we flow.
And I'm sitting here watching the flow go.
Ah.
All right, let's kill Louis.
He went hunting.
Of course you did.
Need I say more?
Mm-mm.
It never ends well.
But
Does
there
it?
is a wolf.
There is. Okay, so he saw a wolf while on the hunt and thought to himself, that would look really good in my library. I shall hunt it and stuff it and hang it on my wall. Unfortunately for Louis, this was a supernatural, fantastical creature
And he was having a particularly clumsy day.
and fell off his horse.
Just fell off.
But apparently, it could also be a curse because he pissed off some monks amongst all of his, fighting and not fighting and whatever. He was supposed to like pay them some homage.
Don't even get me started on that. Homage.
He was supposed to be paying off some homage to these monks and
he didn't.
go back and do it. So God punished Louis and all of his descendants with a
He
wolf plague.
Sent a supernatural wolf.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause that's what I have in my notes
Mhm.
is that it was a fantastic creature, a divine supernatural intervention.
It was
And they're like, you messed up, dude. You're going to die.
Yeah.
basically by falling off your
Sorry.
horse.
Yes.
That's like a horrible way to go, though.
I was expecting the
Because what are you
fantastical-
actually dying of? Broken neck?
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, honestly, look at
You
Christopher
land on a
Reeves. He
stick.
fell and got paralyzed for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, you didn't have the technology in medicine, so yeah,
For
you
sure.
fell off the horse, you get a severe enough injuries, you can die from it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So he was rushed off to be healed, wasn't healed, and contracted tuberculosis.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Body was sensitive.
Yep. And he was buried at the Abbey of Saint Remy. Is a picture of it today.
Remy?
It probably didn't look the same back then.
I mean, pretty close.
Yeah.
His tomb was later destroyed
Mm-hmm.
during the French Revolution.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Pretty much
It
all of
was in a
them.
parking lot, but
He wasn't in the park. Oh, that's right.
not a parking lot.
It wasn't.
It wasn't the park. See?
But it was destroyed during the French Revolution. The tombs of him and his son, which we haven't talked about yet, were in the abbey, and they were moved later after being destroyed.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is his wife oversaw the whole burial thing.
Unusual. It's usually a man's duty.
Mm-hmm. But she like jumped in there and took care of things, didn't she?
Well, yeah,
did.
from what I see, from my notes, it's not like she took care of it after his death, like until she died.
Mm-hmm.
She was like really involved in it.
Yeah, she was involved with her son's reign, I think, as well.
Like most mothers are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You might be a rule, son, but I'm the neck that turns your rule.
Yep.
So right after he dies, Gerberga has to then, instead of Lothair just automatically becoming king, she has to get Hugh the Great's approval
Yes.
to crown him.
Stupid Hugh, even though he was like booted and everything, you know,
Mhm.
Louis the Fourth and he made up.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy still had so much more lands that he was just more powerful than them.
Well, and he was 15, 16. He was still really young.
Yeah.
So then we enter the Regency again,
Yep.
which we'll delve into a little more next week when we talk about Lothair.
For sure. Y'all ready for some relevant tidbits?
Born ready.
Yeah, we are. This week, we are bringing to you 12 Medieval Trends by Francis White, number 10. Number 11.
This is 10.
It is actually 11, though, because I failed in life.
Aw. I'm like, it says 10.
It
So
does.
did you screw up on the 10 or the 11?
The 10.
You did tell me earlier it was 11.
Yep.
Okay.
It is 11.
Number
Helmeted-
11.
Number 11, helmeted cocks.
Really hope that's a chicken.
I'm assuming it is. I'm hoping it is.
Looks like a chicken.
On top of a pig?
Yep.
Yes. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I mean, it does have the curly tail.
Is he carrying a flag, and what is around his waist? Another
I think it's a shield.
shield?
It's a fanny pack.
Oh, they had fanny packs back then?
Yep.
Apparently.
Nice. Sorry, 80s.
Yeah. Medieval era really was fashion forward.
Okay. Helmeted cocks. If you were, it's just that you're not moving it. So
Oh, can you not see?
not
I didn't know.
really.
I thought you all could see.
Nope.
If you were a poor person in the Middle Ages, food, for the most part, was dull, boring, and repetitive. However, for the rich, nothing was off limits. As explained in Terence Scully's book, The Art of Cookery in the Middle Ages. No idea what that says, but it was published in 2005.
Huh.
They enjoyed dining on swans and, to keep them going through Lent, beaver tail. However, they were munching their way through so many animals, they were forced to create new and more bizarre ones. A favorite of the table was the helmeted cock, prepared by stitching a rooster so it seemed to be riding atop a pig. That is exactly what that looks like.
It is.
Mhm.
I'd eat it.
I wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, back then, food's food. Yum.
Chicken.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
As long as we have
Pig.
wine in those cute little wine glasses,
Yeah.
I'm
like
in.
a goblet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I kind of want to get this book now. and cook
Check it
some
out.
medieval foods.
Do a
sure.
whole, is it Julia Child thing where you cook
Yes.
every meal for a year?
Special episode of Royal Malarkey. They cook medieval foods.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I mean,
Would definitely do it. We get the lapel mics and have like a cooking show style.
yep.
Stream it.
Chaos.
Please let us know on YouTube if you'd watch that, because we'll do it for sure.
Yep.
And I'll make sure to come back for it.
Yes.
Justin, tell us where everybody can find you again.
Again, you can find me at twitch.tv/Bahamas.
What are you playing right now?
I'm playing a game called Grounded right now.
What's it about?
It's pretty much Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Nice, but what do you do?
So you find yourself miniaturized in the backyard of a house, and you have to try to figure out why you're miniaturized. And so there's a little laboratory under this giant red oak tree, and once you get over there and you kind of find out that the scientist was miniaturizing everyone, and you somehow got miniaturized by the serum, so you have to survive in the backyard whilst fighting off bugs and eating bugs. So there's gnats and larvae.
Are the gnats like
The
huge?
gnats are about the size of a basketball, and they're annoying because they keep coming up to you and like just pecking at you. You have ants, soldier ants. You have stink bugs. This bug that shoots acid out of its backside.
Nice.
You have
Fancy.
and you have two types of spider. And there's this wolf spider's the biggest one there is, and when you run into that thing.
But also really fun, or you wouldn't be playing it.
Yep.
Oh, it's fun. Well, because you have to survive. It's like a survival game, so you have to cut down grass and build yourself a house and stuff like that, and campfire, armor, weapons.
That's awesome.
Whilst trying to survive in this wilderness. And all I gotta say is, if you see the grass moving, you better be running the other direction.
Take notes, people.
But that's what I'm playing right now.
That's super fun.
That sounds awesome.
All right, go find him on Twitch.
Yep. At
He just told me.
At twitch.tv/Bahamas06. And again,
Mama 06.
bear with me because I'm still trying to get the proper equipment to have a better stream. So support your streamers.
Support all day.
All day. Speaking of,
You can find us at royalmalarkey.com. Check out our
Twitter,
Instagram
Facebook,
and YouTube network, Aversion TV. Please rate and review us on iTunes.
And don't forget to punch that notification bell.
It's
And-
also on Aversion TV. Please subscribe and leave us a comment, because we're going to leave you questions. So please respond. And then if you are an avid podcast listener, please go rate and review us on iTunes.
And hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed the episode. And if you didn't, please hit it anyway.
And don't be mean.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yep. Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.